All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and get underway. We're joined by Associate Head Coach and Defensive Coordinator Doug Belk. Coach, thanks so much for your time. We'll go ahead and lead off with questions and get things started with Andy Yanez. Andy?
Hey, Doug, how are you doing, sir?
What's up, Andy?
Nothing much. Doug, I got to start, obviously, going back to Saturday. I'm curious from your perspective as a defensive coordinator, just overall as a defense, how do you guys bounce back from that performance against SMU?
Yeah, I mean, you got to just state the obvious. I mean, we got whooped from start to finish. It's my responsibility to get those guys going. I mean, you'll never hear me get on here and blame our kids for what they did or didn't do. We got to do a better job of coaching them, and those guys, you got to give them credit. Some of the one-on-one matchups that they were able to win was a difference with a lot of explosive plays and a lot of big plays in the game, and we didn't execute well enough or didn't play well enough to contain them. And I thought Shannon and offensive staff did a great job with a great game plan. Tune played his heart out along with a lot of other people, and so we didn't have a lack of effort or a lack of physicality. We had a lack of execution in some areas and some things schematically that we got to get cleaned up to be able to move forward. But, our players, they really took it upon themselves before I even saw them. And, defensively of things that they thought that, was the difference in the game. And we had some of those conversations, as a unit and individually with their position coaches. So all of those things have kind of been addressed and some things that we need to do to get better. And there's really no secret. And if you watch the game, there's a lot of things that we could do better. And so moving forward, we had a good practice today. We've kind of moved on to Temple with the expectation that we got to get better. And that's really not who we've been. And that's not the brand of defense that we want to put on the field. And we have to play better for, as a unit and, to give ourselves a chance to win as a team.
We'll send it over to James Mueller.
Yeah. Hey, Doug, how's it going?
Good.
So I was just wondering, obviously, y'all been dealing with injuries all year, but you had some secondary guys get banged up against SMU. How have you seen the younger guys that you may have not expected to play as much and that may have to, play a bigger role, sort of progress throughout the season? Dana's talked about, that backup corner as a spot where he's been, particularly focused on. I'm just curious on your view of their progression.
Yeah, I mean, we got guys out at every level. Some of our, Derek Parrish, Malik, and you look at Alex and Jason, different players, but, whoever's in has to play. We all have 85 scholarships. The reps that these guys take are very critical in practice to be able to get those guys ready to play. And some of the veteran guys that we don't have out there have taken a lot of those reps. So moving forward, we just got to continue to get them ready to go. And you look at some of the young guys that contributed. They're going to make some mistakes, but they play hard and they're very talented. And you look at AJ and, Holmes inside, plays some significant reps. And you look at Jalen Emery, got to start, plays with energy, plays with passions, has some great plays, has some plays and things that we could coach them on. So it takes a toll, but at the end of the day, guys are in position to make plays and we have to be able to make those plays. And if they're not in position, it's my job to put them in a better position moving forward. And we got to get more guys in there and continue to develop some of these young guys, and they're going to have to play. Still got a lot of guys that played last week that won't be in the lineup moving forward for a while. And I don't know some of those guys' immediate futures, but that's a little bit out of my control, and that's up to our medical staff and the people that make those decisions. My job is to get whoever is capable of playing and healthy out there and put them in position to make plays. So that's what we'll do moving forward.
Pass it along to Joseph Duarte.
Hey, Doug.
What's up, JD?
Hey, not much. Thank you. Along those lines, Doug, I'm just curious. I know you guys don't make excuses or anything, but when you don't have the full complement of players that you have, are you having to dial it back a lot on what y'all want to implement? Sort of maybe the coverages or the schemes, all that kind of stuff. Is it maybe night and day from what you would like to run versus what you're able to run?
Yeah, I've gotten that question a lot, and we don't look like we looked last year in a lot of situations from a schematic standpoint or a personnel standpoint. But we got a game to plan. We got to put a product on the field that our staff and our players that we're putting out there are comfortable with and have confidence in executing. And so there's a lot of different ways you could look at it. And I've never made an excuse about who's out there. I never blame kids for or our players for mistakes that they make, because at the end of the day, that's what I was hired to do, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, is put the best people out there and try to give us the best chance to win. And, you know, when you look at the SMU game, SMU didn't sneak up on us, right? Obviously, we didn't see what happened coming, but, you know, they had the #1 offense in our league, and, you know, they're the top receiver in the country as far as yards and catches, and their quarterback is elite, and we knew those things, and they made a lot of plays that we didn't make, and there's really no excuse for that. And it's the bottom line is that we got to get better and find a way to put these guys in positions and make plays. And whether they're a freshman, whether they're a senior, whether they start a lot of games, doesn't really matter. And it's the next man up, and you know, the next opportunity for us. And the analogy that I use with our unit is, you know, we got a group of fighters, and you look at the games that we played this year, a lot of overtime, a lot of nail biters, and wins and then losses. And so our kids are, you know, very resilient. As Coach always says, probably more resilient than I am, and that we are as a staff, and they're chomping at the bit to get back out there and play. And we've talked about the group that we have that fights. And, you know, I told them, you know, we got knocked down and we fell hard last week, but we didn't get knocked out, and we got opportunity to fight again this weekend. So that's our approach, and that's how we're gonna handle it. And we're gonna challenge them. You know, look in the mirror, see who is gonna respond, and it starts with me. And, you know, I have to be able to accept that, and our coaches do as well. So we got to continue to work and put our players in position to be successful.
We'll send it over to Ryan McNeil. Ryan.
Hey, Coach. Good to talk to you again.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Good, thanks. We talked a couple of weeks back about teachable moments, and think about the SMU game. When you're starting to, a twofold question, sorry. When you're digging into the game tape, how are you able to find some teachable moments or some chunks? And then how have you then been able to take those game clips and teach the kids without being too harsh on them? How do you give them those teachable moments where you're giving them that wisdom, that advice to help them improve?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for us, we have defensive core values that we, you know, follow every week: discipline, accountability, physicality, and effort. And the physicality and the effort is going to travel no matter who you play. And we didn't have a lack of that. And we did have a lack of discipline at times, and we had a lack of execution, which goes in those things. So the first thing you got to do is be able to stand on whatever you believe in or whatever you do. And if you make a mistake, you got to own it. If I make a bad call, I own it to the players, and I don't even show it to them. I say, this is my fault. Or if it's something that I think we could have put them in a better position, all right, then that's how we handle those moments. So, you know, there's a teachable moment for us all in everything that we do. And you can look at it as a lesson, or you can look at it as a failure. And obviously, you know, I'm sick, and the players are really upset about, you know, the outcome of the game. But at the same time, it's a humbling experience, and all you could do is go back to work. And so show them where they're wrong, show them where they could get better. And it goes back, we got a lot of guys out there that haven't played significant reps here. And so every rep they play is going to help them improve, right or wrong, or whether they make the play or don't make the play. We got to show them why they didn't do it and what they need to do it right, and why it's important to do it that way. And so we do that as a unit on Sunday. So if somebody has a good play, we call it good, bad, and ugly. They have a good play, we show it. They have a bad play, we show it. And, you know, have that accountability within the room. So they say, this is what I saw, this is what happened. And I said, this is why we need to do it this way, and this is how we could get better at it. And sometimes it's challenging them, and sometimes it's just teaching them, you know, the technique or the assignment that we didn't make. And then if there's a good play, we praise those too, because it wasn't all negative, but it wasn't enough good for us to be able to sustain and give our offense a chance with the way they were playing to win the game.
We'll send it along to James Mueller.
Yeah, Doug, looking forward to this weekend. I was just curious on what your thoughts on Sadie, their running back. He went for 260 plus, 3 touchdowns last week. Just some of the challenges he presents in that run game. Yeah,
I mean, he's you know, he's 6 foot, 215 pounds, prototypical running back, very powerful. He's not looking to run around people. He's looking to run through you. Has top end speed to finish the runs. You see, he had a lot of explosive runs last week against South Florida, 334 all-purpose yards. Had an explosive run in a screen game. Made a couple guys miss and took it the distance. So the first thing you got to do is you got to wrap the guy up, and you got to be physical at the point of attack, because he's really good at yards after contact, one of the best in our league. And then, you know, when he's in the open field, you have to be conscious of where he's at all times, because he does a lot of different things well. So different type of challenge, but, you know, big physical back that we have to contain.
We'll keep going with Joseph Duarte.
Doug, they have the freshman quarterback who doesn't get sacked very much. From a pressure standpoint, how do you how's the emphasis there in terms of wanting to get some pressure, maybe force a young guy into mistakes, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think one, their scheme allows him to, get the ball out fast, and for a young kid, he's very sharp, he's smart, he's going to the right place with the ball. Well coached unit, and they play to their strengths. And one of the things that he does well is he has a quick release, and he has great accuracy. So we got to do a really good job of, picking our spots when we have a chance to get the guy on the ground. We have to do a really good job of being physical and playing with great technique in our pass rush lanes and containing him, keeping him in the pocket. Does not really run a lot, but he is athletic and can extend plays. He gets the ball out quick. So all of those things are a challenge. So we got to try to make him as uncomfortable as we can. But we also have to make the front and the coverage match. And that's something that we got to continue to get better at.
We'll send it over to James Mueller.
Yeah, sort of on that. You touched on it a little bit, but just on their receiving core, it looks like Warner spreads the ball out a lot, looking at just, receiving stats. A bunch of guys have 20+ catches, just what they present in some of those challenges.
Yeah, they got a veteran group. Number 10 we played against last year. I think he's kind of the main target, right at 600 yards and 46 receptions. Played really well over the last couple of weeks, makes a lot of acrobatic catches, really good route runner. Can tell that he's played a lot of football. And number 5, Georgia Tech transfer, a little bit bigger, probably as explosive and as capable of doing a lot of different things on the perimeter. So those two guys present a challenge. And I think what they do a really good job with in the receiving game and the running game is they use their tight ends really well. They have length and they have size there. They move them around, a lot of different formations, a lot of motions. And so we got to do a really good job of formation recognition, but most of all, putting these guys in position to keep the ball in front of us.
Sending it back to Joseph Duarte.
Doug, just last thing on the last game, Dana was saying and yourself about just having the leaders of the defense sort of step up and the message and about moving on and moving forward. Did you see what you wanted from those guys in the last couple of days in terms of getting that out of their system, maybe bringing the message to the team? Like you said, you may have fell down, but you didn't get knocked out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, these guys that that are playing, like Donovan and G. Owens and some of those type of guys, they play a lot of football and the expectation is high for them. Obviously, if you played here, you're a captain. They want that responsibility. They want to be the guys to lead, and they know that it starts with them outside of starting with myself and the coaching staff. And so, those guys have owned a lot of things that we need to get better at. And I have a high level of respect for those guys, and that's why they're team captains and leaders on this team, because they're mature enough to own mistakes, and they're smart enough to know where things went wrong and things that we can get better at. But they're also positive in the fact that they're still light in the tunnel, and there's still ball for us to play. So players play, coaches coach, leaders lead, and the young guys got to follow for us to get better and find a way to win on Saturday.
And if I'm not mistaken, when I know Latif went out the other day, and then of course Jace, Dana was saying that this may be a point where guys like Justice or DK may have to come in, guys like that. I mean, how have you seen those guys in practice versus having to sort of now next man up?
Yeah, like I kind of mentioned with those two guys, they've had to they got to get healthy, and they got to be in position for us to put them in the game physically and mentally, learning what to do, as well as being healthy. Art came out, then Latif went in, he got hurt, Chase didn't return. Tabo went out in the second quarter. Manny Nunnery went out in the first quarter. So none of those guys returned. So opportunities for other guys to get quality snaps. And so we just got to keep bolstering those reps for these young guys, because they're all going to have to play. We're going to have to clear the bench, and whoever's out there, the expectation is the same. And so we'll do things schematically that we think that they can do, and coach them and teach them as well as we can from now until kickoff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll keep it open if there's one or two more. Coach, seeing no additional questions, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for your time here today, and best of luck on Saturday.
All right, thank you. See you.
All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and pick back up here. We are joined by wide receiver Matthew Golden. Matthew, thanks so much for the time here today. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions, and we can get started with Joseph Duarte. Joseph?
Hey, Matthew, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for doing this. It's the first time we've had a chance to talk to you. Just wondering if you could sum up what's the first year been like for you. How would you describe, this whirlwind of your first college football season?
I'd say it's been good. I'm just blessed to be in the situation I'm in to play football. I had an injury, but I got to come back, play football. I just love playing football. So being around the people that I got, it don't get no better than that. So I'm just blessed.
Has it met your expectations? What you've been able to do on the field?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Thanks, Joseph. We'll pass it along to James Mueller. James?
Yeah, Matthew. I was just wondering, obviously, with your injury and stuff, how you spent those weeks recovering, and then what it was like, being able to come back last week and have an immediate impact to make some big plays.
I was down. I was down on myself because I wasn't able to play, so I just had to watch. But the 2 weeks I was out, I was still working out, trying to get better, working on my craft. Just looking at it from outside in, it slow down the game for me, just seeing what I need to work on and just looking at Tank, watching the other players play and do stuff that I didn't know how to do. So when I came back, the stuff that I learned, I could use that in the game. So I just feel like I just needed a break, because I came straight out of high school to play football. So that break for me, it really helped me understand the game and how I'm supposed to go about things.
Thanks, James. We'll send it over to Ryan McNeil. Ryan?
Hey, you mentioned being an admirer of Tank and learning from him. What are some ways that you've learned from Tank or some of their teammates, either in practice or in video sessions, or what are some of the ways some of the coaches have challenged you and helped you grow so far?
Just watching him, he the same person every day. He come in and work every day, even when he hurting. So I didn't really know how to go about it in high school. Hurting. I just thought if I'm hurting, then I could just slow up. But in practice, he's still going 100%. He doing everything. So just watching him and being able to just learn from him, it helps me with my game. So I just feel like being with him is just gonna make me better at the end of the day. So he like a big brother to me.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll send it back to Joseph Duarte.
Matt, was there a moment that sort of was your, hey, I'm in college football now? Was it the touchdown late in the Texas Tech game, or was it the Memphis game? Not the Memphis game. I'm sorry, but the other. I'm trying to think here. Let me look at the. Would it have been maybe the Rice game where you scored, or what jumps out at you where you kind of felt like, okay, this is what it's about?
I really say it was really my first game when we played UTSA, because the overtimes. I ain't never been in that many overtimes before, but it was the atmosphere was crazy. It was a lot of people there, so it was loud. I couldn't hear nothing, so I was just out there playing. That was my first time being in front of stands, that many people. So, I really enjoyed that time.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll continue along with Andy Yanez. Andy?
Hey, Matt. Obviously off the heels of Saturday's game, I'm curious. Overall, as an offense, have you guys tried to pick up the defense? Has there been any messages you guys have shared with the defense, or what have kind of those conversations have been like since Saturday's game?
Football is football. You can't play perfect every game. We had games where we played bad, defense picked us up. It go both ways. So we just got to come together. You got ups and downs in the season, it happens. So all we could do is learn from it and just keep playing, finish the season out strong.
Thanks, Andy. We'll send it over to James Mueller. James?
Yeah, I was wondering, as one of the younger guys, in the receiving core, just with what Sam Brown's been able to do recently, and Jack's shown stuff before he got injured. How do you feel about this, just the way the future of this receiving core set up, with just all this young talent y'all have, just moving forward?
I feel like it's gonna be good. You know, we all compete with each other in practice. I look at Sam. You know, I mean, Sam older than me, so he was in college before me. So I watch his game and I try to match my energy off his too. So I mean, we got a lot of young people. Me, CJ Nelson, man, Jack. You know, he got hurt, but I feel like next year we all gonna compete during the summer, work out with each other, and just build chemistry so we can have a good season next year.
Thanks, James. We'll send it over to Ryan McNeil. Ryan?
You have the benefit of two very experienced quarterbacks. You have Clayton and you have Ike. Those two guys in particular, how have they helped you out with some routes or with game tape? How have those veteran quarterbacks helped you out so far?
You know, just Tune being here, how long he been here. He breaks down like the right concepts for me, like telling me what I need to do, like the right depth, just being there where I need to be on time and how much it matters so I could take the pressure off him. So, you know, just being around, talking to your quarterback. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do as a receiver. You're supposed to build that chemistry with him. So I can make him feel like he could trust me when we get in those big games. And then Ike, I mean, you know, Ike don't play that much, but he always helping me off the field, telling me like what I'm supposed to do, like what I could do better as a receiver. So, I mean, having both of them it's just gonna make me better.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll send it over to Joseph Duarte and then keep it open for a couple more. Joseph?
Matthew, how much did enrolling early help you? What did you feel like was best to gain from getting on campus as soon as possible?
Just the aspect like of college football, like it's hard. I mean, you gotta work out every day. It's every day, it don't stop. So I just had to like get used to it, get used to coming up here every day, just working out and just straight football. Like it's a job when you get here. So, you know, I just had to learn that quick. But I would say it helped me. It helped me like understand the game more and like how important it is to like take care of your body and just small stuff with football. So I just feel like enrolling early it just helped me. So it just helped me be successful from this point.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll keep it open if there's a couple more before we let Matthew go.
Andrew, if I could throw one
Sure.
more in, Matthew, just with Clayton's play lately, over 500 yards the other night and 7 touchdowns. What, as a receiving group, what have you guys, seen this during this stretch of what Clayton's been able to do and how well he's playing lately?
I mean, that's Tune. He that guy. So like when him being able to run the ball, throw the ball, I mean, that opened up the offense. So he could scramble or he could just sit in the pocket and throw it. So I mean, it's not too much you can do about that with a quarterback like that. It makes it harder on the defense. And so if the receivers do what they're supposed to do, it make it easier for him to throw the ball. So we get open. So it's just, he gonna throw the ball and just get it there to us. So we just gotta make the plays.
Thanks, Joseph. Keep it open if there's one more. Matthew, appreciate the time here today and look forward to watching you again on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, everyone, we'll continue along here. We're joined by center Jack Freeman. Jack, thanks so much for your time as always. We'll go ahead and open it up with questions. Just ask the media to use your raise your hand tool and we can get things passed along your direction. And we can lead things off with Joseph Duarte.
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yesterday when we talked with Dana, he mentioned that he felt like the pass protection recently or in the SMU game is the best that it's been since he's been here. Wondering from a line perspective, what you guys think has been the turnaround, or at least maybe getting gelled together, as the season's gone along, how it's helped y'all improve with the pass protection.
Yeah, honestly, I give a lot of props to Coach Jones and Jawan and Keenan, the GA. I mean, we talked about it, outside of the whole O-line room, just like us is like, hanging out, whatever, outside. And like we've been saying, for really since the start of it, and Coach Jones has always been on top of his stuff, but like it's really crazy because it seems like Coach Jones, I mean, every time we come in here on Sundays and Mondays, he's already got, the next week's team, like all their blitzes coming up, like on his whiteboard, everything we're gonna be doing that next week, and he's always ahead of the game. So honestly, I got to give so much credit, and I think that the other guys can vouch for this as well. Like Coach Jones and Jawan, they definitely have been on top of their stuff and getting ahead, and getting us in the right spot. They do a bunch of blitz breakdowns and like twist stuff. So I definitely got to give them a lot of credit.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll pass it along to James Mueller. James.
Yeah, hey Jack, how's it going?
It's good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So I was wondering, sort of along those lines, and just the continuity Dana's talked about, just bringing in guys who haven't been with the program a long time, having them fill in roles, just how you've seen that progress and how that's helped you from week one to where you are now. Do you feel like, y'all are more stable or as a group together, just, having weeks together now consistently, that same group out there?
You talking about the O line and like just our
Yeah,
O-line?
O-line.
Yeah, I mean, like we all bond very well. Like it sucks when like the last seasons, seeing all your close friends and all the guys go, but like they brought in some good guys, and Tyler and Lance have definitely stepped into their role, and like we all feel really comfortable with each other. Whoever they want to put in there, we feel comfortable as a whole unit. But like him bringing those guys into our O line room have definitely been a big factor and helped us have a lot of great competition and progress in the right direction. And I'm pretty sure this goes for everybody else, but myself personally, I think that like we're only going to get better from here and progress.
Thanks, James. We'll send it over to Ryan McNeil. Ryan.
I feel that playing center is one of the underappreciated or lack of knowledge for casual fans sometimes. What are some of the challenging aspects of being a center? Obviously, getting your head on a swivel and not getting hit, I said snap the ball, but what are some of the technical aspects that you wish football fans knew that's challenging about your role and your job on the team?
Honestly, I mean, like it's funny you asked that because like it gets talked about quite often, and it just like the question doesn't really get brought up, but honestly, and I just had this happen in my previous game against SMU. You get so antsy because you get the call, and then you go up to the line and you call the front. You tell the whole O line what the front is, the back, the quarterback included. And then let's say they shift to a different front. So then you got to worry about recalling it and then telling everybody where to go from that standpoint, along with knowing that you still got to, set back or like fire off the ball and block this guy or that guy. And then also along with that, you got to snap the ball. So like there's a lot of different things that go into it. And I mean, it can make you get a little antsy, and that's why like I got a false start this past game against SMU because I'm just trying to get a jump on the guy, and in reality I didn't need to, but you just get so like all those nerves and everything coming at you, and just like I said, you get really antsy, and I mean a lot of that stuff just kind of goes unnoticed, but that's okay because that's the beauty of our position.
Thank you for the insight.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll send it over to Andy Yanez.
Hey Jack, just in terms of run blocking, I know you guys didn't get a chance to be able to run block much in the SMU game, but one of the guys that has really kind of stepped into a role the last few weeks has been Stacy Sneed. I'm curious from your perspective, what have you seen from him just in terms of how he's approached that role? Because obviously you guys have had to deal with a lot of injuries, in particular when it comes to the running backs group.
Yeah, I think Stacy has done a phenomenal job, honestly. And like we've all been saying this from the get-go since he's been here. Like Stacy is definitely a special running back. He can do a lot of things. We saw it in fall camp, you know, whenever he had to kind of step in, whenever, Alto got hurt. Uh, our backs have just, been going out left and right, which sucks. But, Stacy's done a really great job stepping in, and I'm glad he's been getting to play a lot. And I think he really sparked him. Pretty sure it was Navy week. And like that makes me really happy for him, honestly, because I mean, like there was a point in time where he didn't know if he was going to be here anymore, and none of us really did either. And so like that makes me really happy to see, him succeed, and see that smile on his face every day in the locker room now. Like, it makes you really happy to know that like, your teammate is being successful, and like you're able to be a part of that with them.
Thanks, Andy. We'll pass it along to James Mueller.
Yeah, Jack, when we talked to you, I think it was during fall camp, you talked about how, last year was difficult in some senses, just losing your spot to Cody and stuff, but you were grateful that you stuck it out. Now that you're 2/3 of the way into the season, getting out there each week, has that just reaffirmed your decision, just staying here was the right choice for you and just what you've been able to do out there this season?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was thinking about this actually last night. It's honestly been some of the most fun I've ever had. And, just knowing that that was my first start, like first true start against SMU. I think, like as a for sure starter for the season, because like in 2019 I had to be thrown in there, obviously, and then 2020 we didn't get to play him. Last year I wasn't the starter, so I was thinking about that, and because like I actually would always go to SMU practices and whatnot whenever I was younger because I'm from that area, and it was just really cool knowing like this is my first time, getting a start against the team that like I kind of grew up going to watch, and it's put a lot of like perspective in my eyes because you know I everything has just been you know like really like really great for us in our O-line room, and like obviously our record isn't what we wanted, but it makes me very appreciative knowing that I did stick it out and like stay here because like I wouldn't have the brotherhood and like the bonds that I do have with and the relationships that I have with all the guys here, like for the rest of my life. And I'm glad I did stay here because my parents have been getting to go to every single game. I wouldn't know where I would be at if I had left. Like everything happens for a reason. So I am very happy I did stick it out and stay here and be able to be coached under Coach Jones, and Juwan came back and got to get, gain a lot of knowledge from him and be able to, be coached by him. And, it's just everything happens for a reason. So like, yeah, to answer your question, I am happy that I did stick it out and, learn under Cody and be able to show everybody like I am, supposed to be here and I am, good enough to play here. So yes, thank you for that question, actually.
Thanks, James. Let's send it over to Joseph Duarte, and then we'll keep it open if there's one or two more. Joseph?
Jack, I wanted to ask just about this weekend. You look at what they do defensively and the number of sacks that they accumulate. How sort of you guys have done such a good job with pass production lately. How do you carry that over when the level of what you're going to see is going to rise with what they can do?
Well, I mean, honestly, we all love having a challenge. I mean, who wouldn't want to be challenged and see how good you really are? So I think if anything, like this is going to be a really good game for us, knowing that, they are like what, seventh in the country for sacks. Like that's good. That's actually good to know because then it just makes you want to go even harder. And I mean, and prepare, the best you can and treat every game or every rep in practice like a game rep. And I mean, just make each other better, like that's the only thing we can do from here on out is just keep making each other better, keep being positive about the season. Like anything can happen. So just take it day by day and like just try to live up to the challenge.
If I can follow up, Jack, how's Pancake look in practice and stuff?
Yeah, I mean he's been doing good. He gets moved around a lot, between the scout team and to like the travel team side of the ball. He's been, I mean, I don't get to see him like too much whenever he's over on the other side, but from what I've seen, I mean, he has been progressing a lot. He's been getting better, keeping a good attitude, straight mindset of, just like understanding his role right now. And that's to get the defensive line better because I mean, he's a good player, very solid. And like, that's just a good, opportunity for him to go against people like Dot and Latrell and guys like that and J Mike, guys like that every day. That's good for him and it's good for them too. So he's definitely going in the right direction.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll let's see. We'll keep it open if there's one more question. Jack, thanks so much for your time here today. Look forward to watching you on Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we'll wrap things up here today. We are joined by running back Stacy Sneed. Stacy, thanks so much for the time here today. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions from our media, and we can lead things off with James Mueller. James?
Yeah, hey Stacy, how are you?
How you doing?
Good, good. So since this is the first time we've got to talk to you, I was just curious. Obviously through fall camp and stuff, Dana, your teammates were talking about just what they've seen from you and how they felt like you could be that guy. And now that you've gotten in the past 3 games, played significant role. How's that been for you to finally, be able to show what you can do in a larger role when the lights are bright?
Really it's just next man up mentality. Just really just having a dog in me, that's really it.
And if I could follow up, what was that? Can you take us through that first touchdown a couple weeks ago? Just what that moment's like. I'm sure it's something you always dream of, scoring a collegiate touchdown and then being able to follow up with a couple more after.
That was great. The O-line, it was really good to hold the line. The O-line did good for me. Hold on, let me start over. My bad. Hold on.
You're all good, Stacy.
Really, I got to give props to my O-line. They the ones helping me get there. It felt great. And I hope I have many more.
Thanks, James. We'll pass it along to Andy Yanez. Andy?
Hey, Stacy, man, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. I was just curious if you could talk a little bit about, that running backs group this season. You guys obviously share with Tajon Henry and Brandon Campbell, the kind of the 2 lead backs, and obviously you guys have a full group. And I'm curious what you've seen from Tajon specifically, and just anyone in general from a leadership perspective that has really helped you out through the course of the season.
Tajon been a real big help. But Keelan Walker is the man that's always in my ear telling me pick it up, and what he's seeing, like if I'm doing bad, he pick me up and tell me like what I missed, and same vice versa for him.
Thanks, Andy. We'll pass it over to Joseph Duarte.
Hey, Stacy, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Can you kind of take me through the first couple of years here, sort of waiting your time, maybe getting used to things, and then this year being the year that you sort of came out and you played a big role?
Yes. So I started off kind of rough. It was the game was much faster coming from high school, so I just had to get used to that. And my size, I had to get a little stronger, because coming out of high school, I was only 165. I was little. I needed to protect the quarterback. That was the main job I needed to get done. And I'm showing that I can do that now. So that's why I'm in there a little bit.
Did you I think it was 52 snaps this past week. Did you ever think that you'd be in there, the way things started for you, that you'd be in a game that many snaps, or was it just sort of just having to be patient and wait your turn?
I really just been patient and waiting my turn.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll keep it open. Questions here. Just ask that you all use the raise your hand tool. We'll get it passed along, and we'll send it over to James Mueller.
Yeah, Stacy, just talking about, Tajon, Brandon, they've talked about, wanting to be that complete back where, out of the backfield, they're able to, carry the ball, but also catch the ball. Has that been something you've, especially in the receiving aspect, I think you've had at least 2 catches in each of your games that you've been in, but just has that been a priority or an emphasis for you, just being, an outlet option for Tune if he gets in trouble?
Yes. I always tell him if no one's there, I'm always on your side, ready. So
Thanks, James. We'll keep it open if there's a couple more here for Stacy. We'll send it back over to Joseph Duarte.
Stacy, I don't know which of your teammates did it. Have you seen the need for Sneed, is what they say?
Sneed for speed.
Yeah, Sneed for speed.
Yeah, that started back in high school, and I just it just carried on with me coming here.
Do you, for those who maybe haven't seen you as much and we're getting to see you, how would you describe what you are in the backfield? Can you kind of give us a kind of a layout of who you are as a back?
I'm a scat back. That's speed. I have great vision. my game is coming along with pass block, so I'm getting better at that. So I say all around back
You feel like you developed,
to become.
in this time here a lot, just in terms of that time that you were working your way into playing. Did you gain a lot out of that? You
Yes,
learn a lot?
I learned a lot from the previous running backs.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll keep it open if there's one or two more. All right, Stacy, we appreciate your time very much here today and look forward to watching you get on Saturday.
Okay, thank y'all.